Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers, Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan. We have come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows, to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we will analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season, or only one episode. With me, as always, is TV's Noah Houlihan.
Whatever you want to accomplish, I bet you can.
So today we are doing Betcha.
Betcha, yes, this is an unsold pilot, the third unsold pilot for this show. In case you want to watch along, we're watching Pilot C. If you're sitting there wondering, stay doomed. Why are you doing game shows? Why are you doing a game show? These tend not to be the best episodes. To you I say, shut up. It's our show. We do what we want, and it's free. What are you complaining about? But also...
wow, no reason to be this combative. We could just tell the truth, which is we are doing it to honor the memory of Wink Martindale.
Yes, Wink Martindale recently passed away, and Wink Martindale's channel... is a channel that we used often whenever we covered a game show, thanks to Wink's Vault, where he would share some unsold pilots. So we thought with the recent passing of Wink Martindale, we would honor his memory by looking through his pilots and picking one to talk about, and we went with Betcha.
So, yeah, we wanted to honor Wink Martindale by doing a game show. Wink Martindale famously produced a lot of game shows, hosted a lot of game shows. He is not the host of this show.
No, I tried to find one that he was the host of, and I could not, unfortunately. I think he was such a big deal in the game show world that he wouldn't do the pilots.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's super interesting because the first two pilots of Betcha, do you know who the host was?
No. I know it was someone different than this one. I remember seeing that. It
was Monty Hall.
Good old Monty Hall, the famous host of Let's Make a Deal.
Some of you probably know him best from that one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that leads into Bone!
Yes, the mathematical conundrum known as the Monty Hall problem, which comes from Let's Make a Deal.
So, this is not one of the Monty Hall pilots. The pilot for this is hosted by Marjo Gortner.
Yes, he reminded me so much of one of the characters from Better Call Saul. Just this weird kind of uptight, in a suit, kind of nervous guy.
He reminded me, he was giving Hunger Games a little bit to me.
Really?
Yeah, it was very, Caesar Flickerman.
Oh, I think that's...
But, early Caesar. Songbirds and Snakes, where he doesn't, quite... Or not Songbirds and Snakes. That's not Caesar. Songbirds and Snakes is a different guy. That's who I mean.
Oh, okay.
The other Flickerman. I think it's, supposed to be Caesar Flickerman's dad or something.
Ah, Papa's Flickerman.
Yeah, who's, a weatherman who they pull into it.
Okay.
He's, more... He's less polished. So,
okay.
And the presenter is Miss California 1988.
So this is one of the most insane, openings to a game show.
Marlise Ricardo, who is the hostess for all three.
Yes. But the way they set it up is this host comes out and he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to Betcha. This is going to be a fun show. But first, here's a woman. Isn't it great that you're here? Yeah. All right, let's meet our contestants. Hey, this is our contestants. Anyway, moving on.
But before we get started, I want you to say hello to a very special person. She's Miss California 1988 and our hostess, Marlise Ricardo. Welcome to Betcha.
Thank you.
Now let's find out who our players are over here. Hello, Karen. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Gary. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Chris, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, are you all ready to play?
Yeah.
All right.
I was like, whoa! You didn't explain who that woman was, what she was going to do, what the contestants, like, there's no, like, so where are you from? It was just like, go, go, go. I was like, oh,
because it's a pilot and it's all proof of concept, the truth is, an executive doesn't care.
Yes. And because it's a pilot, it's probably, like, stock people.
They're probably, like, production office, like, back office employees or paid extras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not actually winning the games or anything like that.
They're probably actually playing, but probably they're being paid a set appearance fee for...
I'm not sure if they're actually playing. Because it's a pilot, I think they're doing some things to show all the aspects of the game.
Okay.
I'll get into it as we head into our first game. So the way it's going to work is they're each given $100.
Yes.
Ooh. And they will be given $100 at the beginning of each round that they will use to bet on whether or not a certain normal individual, they keep kind of stressing that it's a normal individual doing an extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
And whether or not they can accomplish the task. You can bet against them or for them. So that's the main concept here. So we bring out... Oh, and if you win the most bets and have the most money at the end of this, you will win a bunch of luggage, a camcorder, a big screen television, and a trip to Monte Carlo.
Yeah, a casino city.
Yes.
Where gambling is a significant part of the culture, but it's more splashy than a trip to Vegas.
Exactly.
Especially a trip to late 1980s Las Vegas.
Yes.
Before they kind of heavily commercialized Vegas in the way that it is really in just a few short years after this. Because Vegas really hits that very commercial adult Disney World stride in the early mid-1990s.
Because a few things. One, when is this pilot?
1988.
88, okay. Because, one, seeing the camcorder's hilarious. Because it is a camera that you need to put a VHS cassette into. So it's gigantic.
Yeah, if you want to be specific, this one was November 1988.
Okay. And then he lists all the prizes: the luggage, the camcorder, the television, and the trip. And then he says something like a $6,000 value. I was like, what? All that was $6,000? Wow. Inflation.
Yeah. So, one thing that's interesting is one of the first things we get is they get an odds wheel.
Yes. Interesting's a very strange word for you to use.
Oh, well, the thing that makes it interesting is that it was not in the first pilot.
Oh, okay.
It was an added game mechanic for this pilot.
So this big wheel spins to see what your odds are going to be. And they're going...
To make your bets more exciting, you need some odds. Marlies, start the odds maker.
Okay, here we go.
All right, Carrot, grab yourself some odds.
Come on, big odds, big odds.
Go for it. Go for it.
Big bucks, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. And they can get anywhere between 1 to 2 odds or 1 to 5 odds. You, of course, want 1 to 5 odds because a bet of $1 will win $5. But it doesn't in any way affect the event that's about to take place or, like, your position in the game. It's just you randomly will get 5 to 1 odds while your opponent will only get 1 to 2 odds.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem very fair.
And it's not. Because if you, like, as the game goes on, it is the single most important factor.
Oh, yeah. So, they bring out this guy, and they're like...
One thing I notice in particular on here, it says that you have no hobbies.
Well, I just want to concentrate on my study.
Yeah, interesting thing about this guy, he's boring.
The most interesting thing about this guy is how boring he is. But he's really good at calculations. So they bring out 4 Vegas showgirls
And one bodybuilder. Because they make a point, he's a grad student in mathematics, and they make a point of saying he's good at handling figures.
Yes.
And then they bring out 5 hot people and do not follow up on that joke in the way I would have expected in the late 1980s.
Yeah, like, it almost seems like they don't want to get in trouble. With, like, they want deniability rather than make the joke. So, kind of explains what's going to happen. Whereas, like, they're going to give them the numbers, and then I'm going to give them a number to divide by. Do you think he can do it? And I was like, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, like, maybe.
So, they do this whole thing, and this is, like, why it's so clear that they've been coached and they're not real contestants.
Yeah.
Is, they'll say something like, I'll bet you $80. And they make this big arm movement.
I'll betcha. All 100.
All $100, all right.
Where their hand goes all the way up and then pushes a button.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's coached. That's dumb.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it seems to me like these are not real contestants that are really playing. Because they make a point to have someone go all in and get it right. Someone go half in and get it right. And someone go all in and get it wrong.
Right.
This way you can see all the possible outcomes.
That makes sense.
So that's why I think this is coached and planned. In any case...
And we don't really hear a lot of, like, their process. They make the bet very quickly. They don't talk it through.
Yeah, because they do this weird thing where they reveal how much they bet. And then at the same time, they reveal what each 3 bet on.
Yeah.
So they don't make it clear. Which I think is to avoid gameplay where it's like, I'm really confident in Greg, so I'm going to bet $100 that Greg can do it. And then have the next contestant say, well, I'm in the lead. So if I do the same thing that the previous contestant did, and also bet on Greg, either we both win or we both lose and I stay in the lead.
Yeah, it prevents that level of strategy.
Yeah, which I think is good, because that's not fun strategy.
It also prevents them from having to look a Greg in the eye and go, hey, he can't do it.
Yeah, I think you're a failure, Greg.
Because
Greg was not this guy's name. It's the name I pulled out of the air.
Because they're also... Greg is kind of also competing here. Because if Greg can do the task, he gets $1,000. And if he cannot do the task, he gets $250.
Yeah, he gets a booby prize of $250. We then watch this guy do math.
Yeah, each of the show people, the 4 showgirls and the bodybuilder, gives a, frankly, set of figures. So, like, their measurements and when they were born, like, the year they were born, their measurements.
This baffled me for a while. Because the first couple girls go,
Hello, Ray. I'm Marion. I'm 37, 23, 35. I'm 122 pounds. And I was born in the year 1965.
But the 2 things I noticed are, 1, whenever they gave the year, they always said 1,900. As to not confuse him by saying, like, 1934.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know why I want these girls to be born in the 30s. But that's what I'm going with. The other thing that bothered me is I always assumed they were saying, I'm 32, saying that was their age, and then just yelling 2 other random numbers?
No, they were doing...
Until the very last girl was like, my measurements are. I was like, oh!
Oh, no, see, like... I knew immediately they were doing measurements based on the numbers.
Yeah, so I was just confused by this. What I think is a weird thing they do is, as they're going through it, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, they show the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, they show the numbers being added up. Which I think is dumb. Because I think it's more interesting to be able to play along and realize this person's incredible.
Yeah.
Rather than have all the numbers, and in the event he was wrong, just go, look, he's stupid.
And then at the end, he gets the number, and then they tell him to divide it by another number.
Yeah. And he's like, do you have it? And he's like, yes. He gives the number, and everybody applauds. Some people win their bet, some people lose their bet, and he gets $1,000.
Oh, I do have a note here. If that man is 72 inches tall, I'll eat my hat. A man says he's 6'2", and clearly when I was watching it, I did not believe that.
That's a lying man. So that's the basic premise of the show, is a stunt will happen, and they will bet on whether or not they will be able to do it or not be able to do it.
Yeah.
In terms of the gameplay of betting, we're probably not going to talk about it much more until the end.
Right.
The crux of this show is, hey, cool stunts.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the stunts that they went with.
I couldn't figure out this tennis ball thing.
Okay, I like the tennis ball thing. They just don't do a good job of it. They bring out these two people and that have photographic memories. And they throw a basket of tennis balls across the floor.
I'm really disappointed because I think the next thing that's going to happen...
Dog?
Yes.
It's like, oh, there's a dog one.
One or more goal. I was like, oh, they're going to send a bunch of dogs out to chase the balls, herd them away, and then they're going to have to remember what the dogs were.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And then it would have that little bit of, like, fun, cheeky chaos, and, like, a dog's going to go off the set and tee-hee-hee-hee-hee.
Yes.
And, like, have that little bit of, like, hijinks in a game show, but, like, safe, family-friendly hijinks.
Yeah, this could use more hijinks. What they're actually doing is they throw all these tennis balls out, and this couple comes out and says that they have photographic memory. They look at all the balls, and then they turn away from the camera, so they can no longer see the balls. And the host placed 4 extra balls amongst the other tennis balls without moving any.
Right.
The idea is the two people with photographic memories will then turn around, and because their memories are so good, be able to pick out the 4 balls that weren't there before.
Right.
This is kind of an interesting idea. But I think what you have to do is you need a shot from above that shows the audience at home what the balls look like. And then before you place them, you have the host say, if you want to play along at home, close your eyes.
Yeah.
Then we all close our eyes, and then you open your eyes and you go, this is impossible. And then the couple does something amazing.
Yeah.
Instead, we get like a very weird angle of the balls. So it doesn't you can't really comprehend what you're seeing. And the 4 extra balls are like circled. Like it is superimposed on the screen to have these circles around them.
Yeah.
So it takes all the fun out of it. And they have to do it in 45 seconds. Now, I'm not sure if you caught this. They take it in turns picking balls. First, the girl goes and picks up a ball. Then the guy goes and picks up a ball. Then a girl goes to pick up the correct ball. Mm-hmm. And the guy says, no, wait, don't you know? Like he mumbles something. And she doesn't touch it.
Because they're not supposed to.
Exactly.
We're supposed to see the fail state.
We're supposed to see the fail state. And then the guy goes out and finds the other ball. Oh, they ran out of time. They couldn't do it. So it was a betcha couldn't. And that leads to victory. It's, again, just them showcasing the idea here. I think this is an interesting idea, but I think they're missing the thing.
Yeah, this part was not riveting. I have the note, this is not riveting TV at this point.
Yeah.
Like, the tennis ball thing is just poorly executed. Mm-hmm. Nothing against those people. It was not the most visually interesting. Nor was it short and sweet like the math in the same way. Like, the math was quick.
This was I guess this did take a bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know, because we had to throw the balls, set the balls, and search for the balls. With the math, we had to go through this weird listening to all of the numbers thing.
But I think there's always a stimulus
Okay.
We're watching them talk and say the numbers, and you could be doing the math in your head while that's happening.
That's true, if you don't look at the numbers that they gave you on screen. In any case, for losing, the two of them are rewarded $250.
Because bet you can't.
Because I bet you can't. Our next stunt is a rowing team.
Yes.
Who believe that they can get Miss California successfully up on water skis for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do what a speedboat does with a rowing team.
Because they're a really good rowing team.
This is a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
I kind of like this. It also, I think, is meant to be like, look, it's Miss California in a bathing suit.
Yeah. And it's also meant to get them out of the studio a little bit.
Yeah.
To get, like, more of an exciting filmed task. Hey, like Taskmaster. It's the live task versus the lab task versus the garden task.
Exactly. They do the stunt and they successfully get her up on the water skis, which is cool. They do a really far away shot, which shows her water skiing and the boat.
Yeah.
Which means the shot is really far away, which you'd think you'd want to see like a close-up of the star.
Yeah.
I think you need that shot to show, like, look, it really is a rowing team.
Yes.
But I also think you want the other shot, too. They go back into the studio, and it's I bet you can is the correct answer.
So the rowing team gets money.
The rowing team gets $1,000, which, just to point this out, it's 8 people sharing $1,000.
Yeah.
So they each get, what, $125?
Yep.
If one of those people said, hey, I could get her up on water skis alone and failed, they would make more money.
That is true.
They would double the money that they get for succeeding. Just the math guy got me all mathy, so it's just a thought I had. That brings us to the big bet.
Yeah, and they get a couple more bets on the betting wheel.
Yeah, so now the betting wheel has something that they actually call a daily double.
Yes, which...
Like straight from Jeopardy! But there's now 1 to 8 odds and 1 to 10 odds.
Yeah, like 10 to 1 and 8 to 1 are huge.
Yeah. And now they're betting with their actual bank.
Yes.
All the money, like, usually at the beginning of the round, you're given $100 to bet with. And if you're unsure, you can bet $50, guarantee yourself that that other $50 goes to your bank.
Yeah.
Or if you're feeling confident, you bet it all, you know. But now all the money you've accrued can be used in this bet.
Yes. Which
is made almost irrelevant by if you get 1 to 8 odds or 1 to 10 odds.
Yes, like they do.
Yeah, because someone gets 1 to 10, one gets 1 to 8, and one gets 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Which means it's basically impossible for them to win.
Yes.
And I feel like in a pilot, they always want to have there be an element of you can always win at the end. Like, if you have a lot more money than your opponent, it might be difficult to win. But there's always the chance you hit that 1 in 10 odds and you're back in the game.
Right.
Like, they don't want to get to the final round and it's mathematically impossible for a contestant to win and the outcome is already clear.
Yeah.
This is not a good solution to that. This is not a good comeback mechanic.
No, because someone could just be in a place where, like, they cannot win.
Yes, because you're still creating that problem because, like, let's say we're playing. You've played amazingly.
Yeah.
Right? So you have $8,000. I've played very poorly. I have $1,000. There's the idea, I hit the 1 in 10 odds. So my $1,000 can become $10,000. But because you have more money, like, you would still have to get it wrong and I would have to get it right for me to win.
Right.
That's the idea behind this. Truth be told, you could hit the 1 in 10 odds, I could hit the 1 in 2 odds, and now it's doubly impossible for me to win.
Which is what happens.
Yeah.
It's bad.
This is bad comeback mechanics. Like, when I say comeback mechanics, one of the most famous comeback mechanics is in Mario Kart. If you're playing Mario Kart and you're in first place and you run over an item box, chances are the item you're going to get is a banana peel.
Right.
If you're
to slow you down.
Yeah, because you can slow someone else down with it. Like, it's still a useful item, but it's not a game-changing item. If you're in last place, you're more likely to get a lightning bolt, or a bullet bill, or a blue shell, because you're in last and you need the help. This is an invisible comeback mechanic. Technically, they could do the same thing with this, in that if you're in last place, you're more likely to hit 1 in 10 odds.
Yeah, the 10 to 1. You keep saying 1 in 10, 1 in 8. It's 8 to 1, 10 to 1.
Yeah, excuse me. But it's not... It looks like the game depends far too much on luck.
Yes.
So the big bet is ridiculous.
It's these two big guys.
It's these two big guys that are going to try with fishing poles to reel in a big rig truck that's in neutral. They do make the point to say it's in neutral. I don't buy this for a second. Because, like, it's fishing line. Poles snap.
Yeah.
And, like, pulling 8 tons will probably snap it. If you're even strong enough to do that.
Right.
This just seems ridiculous to me. On top of that, they have to do it in 45 seconds. And what do you know? They do it in 44.
Yeah. There's a point where they're clearly kind of just chilling for a little bit.
Yeah. So I was like... And, like, Miss California is in the truck.
Yeah.
Like, driving it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is ridiculous. It's funny, but it's ridiculous.
But yeah, there's a point where I'm like, they're clearly stalling a little bit.
Yes.
And my next note is, it really does all come down to the odds.
Yes, it 100% just comes down to the odds. We have our winner, who the host immediately kisses.
Yeah, which, oof.
Uncomfortable. She wins, like, but it's funny that her, like, bank is only, like, $3,000 less than the grand prize.
Yeah.
And everybody else gets to keep their money, so, hey, a lot of good money moving out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
In 1988 money, like, $6,000's pretty good. And, the show ends with them teasing what will happen next time on Betcha. It was like a double Dutch team.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be coming in. And the host hits you with the closing line of...
Until then, this is Marjoe Gortner saying, whatever it is you want to accomplish, I betcha you can.
Good night, everybody. And then he kisses the winner again. It's like, hey, I bet you should stop.
So it was driving me nuts, this host.
Yeah.
Because I knew I'd seen him before. I regret to inform you, I figured out where I saw him before.
Is it Better Call Saul?
No. Did you happen to accompany me to the local Mystery Science Theater 3000 esque Star Crash?
Yes, I saw Star Crash. Star Crash is, by the way, just to clarify what's happening here. We went to a local fundraiser where they did an MST3K style parody of the film Star Crash.
Yes.
A film that Mystery Science Theater 3000 would do later.
Yes.
They actually did do Star Crash.
They did it in one of the revivals.
Yes.
But this was actually... The production we saw predated that revival.
Yes.
He's the leading man.
In Star Crash?
Yes. He's acting.
That makes me nervous.
Makes me nervous.
Shout out to people who have seen Star Crash.
All three of you. Actually, based on who is listening to this podcast, probably a higher proportion than most.
Yeah. So that was Betcha. What are your thoughts on Betcha? I have thoughts.
I do think it came down far too much to luck.
100%.
I think the odds made too much of a difference. In that they could break the game.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just have bad luck and make correct predictions the whole game and lose.
Right.
Which sucks. My big kind of like gripe with this is this show's really a stunt show. Like, the betting is kind of part of it, but it's really about the stunts. There's a level of what you can do with the stunts, because, like, you can't have someone walk a tightrope.
Right.
Like classic circus stuff. Because, like, he's like, all right, he's going to walk a tightrope 100 feet in the air.
Right.
Bet you can't. Hope you fall and win me $80. That's a bit dark.
That's true.
That's a bit dark of a concept. So there is like a limit to what you can do here, which is a bit of a shame. There are 3 shows that this kind of brought to mind. One is a reality show called Dog Eat Dog. Are you familiar with Dog Eat Dog?
No.
Dog Eat Dog would take 6 contestants, and you would have to, like, spend a day doing, like, these training exercises so you can get to know each other, form alliances, and see what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. And then, the 6 of you would be presented with a challenge. Something along the lines of, like, we're going to have you hang from a trapeze bar above the pool and give you a category. You're going to have to name 10 things in that category without falling. It's a pop culture thing. That's all we're going to tell you. Who do you think can't do this?
Oof.
And you would vote for the person of the 6 of you that you think would fail at that challenge.
Oh.
If they tried it and failed, they were out of the game. But if they tried it and succeeded, they would eliminate one person who voted for them. So it was a bunch of people being like, bet you can't.
Huh.
And it's more interesting because it's the contestants doing the challenges rather than some stranger trying to win $1,000.
Yeah.
The
When you're also up there with them, I guess you get it a little bit more leeway.
The second show that I want to bring up is a show called Bonsai. Do you remember Bonsai?
No.
Bonsai was a great show. Basically, there was 2 versions of Bonsai. There was a version that aired on G4,
Okay.
where it was like a half-hour show. And then, I believe on TBS, there was the Bonsai movie. And they would show a film, and then when they like went to commercial, you'd get a Bonsai segment. And it was things like, it was like a parody of a Japanese game show. And they were like, all right, it is time for Mr. Shake Hands Man. And Mr. Shake Hands Man would be on the red carpet, and he'd be interviewing Kelsey Grammer. And they'd be like, all right, before Mr. Bonsai or Mr. Shake Hands Man talks to Kelsey Grammer, how long do you think he can hang on to a handshake with Kelsey Grammer? And you could bet online during the show on how long he would hold hands with him. And then you'd watch this silly sketch of Kelsey Grammer on the red carpet for X-Men. And this Japanese reporter would grab his hand, only speak Japanese, and wouldn't let it go.
While Kelsey Grammer struggled.
Well, Kelsey Grammer tried to be charming. And I just distinctly remember him like, oh, you're Japanese. Oh, cool. Oh, and he's trying to pull his hand away, and the guy won't let go. He's like, oh, it's like sumo. And he claps his hands like a sumo wrestler to get this guy to let go of him. And they're like, great maneuvers by Kelsey Grammer. It was a more fun show because the audience got to participate. The betting was like still secondary to the stunt, but I at home and more engaged. The third version of this show, or the third thing that this reminded me of, I can't find.
Okay.
But I have this vague memory of pretty much this exact show.
Okay.
Where it was a group of celebrities betting on stunts. And it lives rent-free in my mind, because I can't find it, but I distinctly remember this stunt, where they asked this panel of celebrities, can this group of people change a tire going 50 miles an hour?
Want to bet?
And I was like, that's impossible. And what they ended up doing was everyone placed their bets, and then the car was flying down the highway and hit a ramp and went up on two wheels. And while they're driving on two wheels, they changed the tire. It was the strangest thing I've ever saw.
Want to bet?
I loved it, and I never saw it again. I was like, they should bring that show back, and they never did. You keep saying Want to Bet. Is that the name of the show?
Want to bet? Yeah, that's the name of the show.
Was it a special? Did it never happen again?
I've also already found clips of it. So it ran six episodes. It was presented by Ant and Dec. It actually did have 2 separate runs.
So it can't be done on Stay Tuned.
It was the 1993 run on CBS as a one-off special.
That's gotta be what I saw.
Was it Martin Mull and Evander Holyfield and Victoria Jackson?
Those are not names I would have known in 1993.
But
so,
yeah.
So maybe.
So yeah, it was a one-off, and then it was revived briefly on ABC in the 2000s.
Ha! All right then.
With Tom Green appearing more than one time.
Well, maybe we could do that as a special later, just so I can recapture part of my childhood.
So yeah, I found this is Push Nevada all over again.
I got Push Nevada gang.
Push Nevada!
So what's your final verdict?
So, by virtue of the game over rule, it is a stay doomed. But I think this would do well today if you added in that audience participation, especially with how prevalent betting is in culture now, with like FanDuel.
Oh, yeah.
So I had the thought of this would actually thrive today as an interactive show.
Oh my, if it was a show that existed on the app,
yeah,
like on the FanDuel, DraftKings, sponsor us, app.
You sponsor everyone else.
Yeah. What could Jamie Foxx do that I can't, MJM? Say your name correctly? Good call.
Post Malone doesn't say no to anything, and neither do we.
Yeah.
Beatbox.
We've said no to 0 sponsors.
Beatbox. We've just harassed Beatbox for years.
We've gotten 0 offers for sponsors, but we would have said yes to anything. We're here to sell out. We've been doing this for 7 years. Anyway, it's a stay doomed from me. I think you're right, but I think that's game over rule of like
that's
you'd
very
have to change so much.
That would be such a big change that's definitely going to be virtue of the game over rule.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be interesting as like almost a gimmick during like slow parts of sports games.
Yeah, like the Kick of Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, you could just do that constantly. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I also could see it as an in-app show, like HQ.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, at 6 o'clock, Randy's going to be here and try to juggle 8 bowling pins for a minute. Do you think Randy can do it? Place your bets now. Yeah, this is $1 million idea.
This
is a multi-billion-dollar idea.
Give us some of that.
Yes.
Please.
We're copywriting it right now. In any case.
Little circle with a TM next to it.
Like, did you ever see Vegas Vacation?
Yes.
This episode's running short, so I'll vamp. In Vegas Vacation, there is the one part where they go to the off-strip casino, where it's like, what number am I thinking of? Rock, paper, scissors. It's just like all of these like schoolyard games. That would be a great casino app. Where it was literally just like, rock, paper, scissors. Dealer has rock. Pay paper. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Stay Doomed. If you want to talk to us more, join our Discord. We chat there about stuff and things and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do that, that's silly. But where else can people find us?
You can email us on thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com, or you can find us on Blue Sky at Stay Doomed.
And if you are a CEO of a gambling app, I'm at TV's No on Blue Sky and on Instagram.
If you want to sponsor us and are preferably Beatbox, because we've been giving you free shout-outs for years, cowards, I am Laura Crane on Blue Sky. Until next time, stay doomed, cowards.